Ghana can be a weird place to live in sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I am a Ghanaian and I love my country, but some cultural practices continue to dent the country's image. Witch camps, female genital mutilation, the lynching of witches, and most of all, the primitive thinking that old age is synonymous with witchcraft. I can go on and on, but for the purpose of today's video, let's talk about Equia Dante, the 90-year-old woman who was accused of being a witch and beaten to death by a witch hunter while the entire community stood and watched. The incident, which is known as the KAFABA lynching, happened in the East Gonja municipality in the Savannah region on Thursday, July 23, 2020 in a small town called KAFABA. The youths of KAFABA petitioned their chief to invite a priestess who could tell them why there is no progress in their community. The unnecessary deaths, the failures and collapse of businesses in a modern society, this problem would have been approached scientifically, but these people opted for a priestess instead. The people were of the belief that something spiritual was causing all the deaths and failures in the community. According to reports, the chief rejected the idea first, but upon further persuasion from the youths, he gave them the permission to invite a priestess, and days later, the most powerful priestess and witch hunter Hajia Serena Mohammed would arrive in KAFABA. On July 23, 2020, Hajia Serena Mohammed would arrive in KAFABA to find the cause of the community's problem and arrest those responsible spiritually. The entire community gathered to watch the priestess in action. It was going to be a great day, they thought. Well, if not for anything, the person responsible for the community's problems would be exposed. During the priestess' spiritual exercises, she pointed at 17 women to be the cause of the community's problem. These 17 women in their 80s and 90s were blamed to be the cause of the community's problems, and they were forced to confess. The priestess' methods are cruel and barbaric. Failure to confess would subject you to torture. These women knew that, so although they were innocent, 16 of them confessed that they are holding the community back. The 16 women confessed and assumed responsibility for all the deaths and the reason why the people in the community are not making any progress. Unfortunately, Equia Dante, a 90-year-old woman, refused to confess to something she did not do. The priestess forced her severally, but she refused to confess. If only she had known what was coming, she would have confessed and saved herself from the torture. The priestess dragged Equia Dante from among the crowd and forced her to drink a concoction while the community stood and watched. The helpless 90-year-old woman drank the concoction, which was forced down her throat, but that was not all. The exorcism would be the death of her. She was dragged on the bare ground for everyone to see. Then she was slapped and caned while she begged for mercy. The saddest part of this entire story for me is the fact that the entire community stood there while a helpless 90-year-old woman was being tortured to death. What happened to us? There is no humanity left in some of us, and the KAFABA incident is a confirmation of that. The torture continued while the people watched until Equia Dante became unconscious, and guess what they did? They left her under the sun and went home. All of them. Well, other sources say after the torture, Equia Dante was taken home where she died, but one thing remained the same: the torture killed her. After torturing the 90-year-old Equia Dante and being left unconscious, a good Samaritan called her eldest son, Mr. Mahama, who rushed home only to meet his mother's lifeless body. Upon rushing her to the hospital, she was declared dead. The KAFABA incident would have gone under the radar just like any other incident if they had not recorded any video. Fortunately or unfortunately, while they were torturing Equia Dante, they recorded video of the entire ordeal, and the faces of the priestess, the assistant priestess, and the people present during the barbaric act were captured in the video. The video was uploaded to Facebook, and that was how the KAFABA incident got the media attention. The president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, condemned the act and called for the immediate arrest of all those connected to the act. act. The late former president of Ghana, Jerry John Rawlings, also added his voice, and so is other human rights groups within the country. But the people who committed the act were nowhere to be found. They went into hiding soon after their pictures were all over social media. Preliminary investigations led to the arrest of the chief of KAFABA, Mr. Seydou Yahaya, for his role in the murder of the 90-year-old Equia Dante. Days later, 5 youths from KAFABA reported themselves to the police, and the chief was later released on bail. On August 5th, 2020, the priestess Hajia Serena Mohammed was arrested in her hideout, including her assistant, 33-year-old Latifa Bumeye, who happens to be the granddaughter of Equia Dante. In total, 16 people were arrested, but no one has been convicted yet. Out of the 16 people arrested, most of them are walking freely amongst us. They are out on bail, and it looks like no one will be convicted because it's been 2 years since the incident. But the police are still investigating, so most of them are out on bail. Equia Dante was buried, yet her killers are still walking freely amongst us. When I was doing my research on this story, I realized that things like this only happen in Nollywood movies. So it is so hard to believe that something like that happened in the 21st century. Despite the delays in convicting the culprit, the Equia Dante Foundation was found to educate residents in small towns and villages to desist from attacking and abusing women who are accused as being witches. So we can say that something good came out from Equia Dante's death after all. At least maybe the next old woman may not be killed because of what happened to Equia Dante. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end. Please subscribe, click on the notification bell, and let me know your thoughts about the KAFABA incident in the comment box below. Always remember, the world is a terrifying place, so please stay safe. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.